Now, why is it fundamental to many organizations? Is because our strategy, the way we set strategy on the corporate strategy, is set up in what we call the mountain concept. What this means is in the board of directors meetings, the CEO meetings, all the executive level meetings, when we set strategy for the year, we basically set it in mountains. We give sales their goals, and we tell sales, go out and sell 10 billion widgets. We tell logistics, you can only have 1 million widgets in stock. And we tell service to increase response time or restore time so that we don't have to have as many feet on the street. So therefore, go from 4 hours response time to 6 hours response time in order to keep our costs down, in order to keep everything in line. Well, the problem with this is that if sales goal is to sell, 10 billion widgets, and the lead time on those are 6 months, let's say, we can never meet any of these goals because they're set opposite of each other. They're divergent goals, and this is the way typically we set our goals today. So basically what we're trying to do with this presentation, and my presentation to everybody here, is to talk about how service is key to a lot of the changing of the organization, but how overall we need to come up with a new management methodology that all organizations can use across the world in order to help stay profitable, keep organizations in business, in order to keep people employed ultimately. So why does inertia stop the change process to profitability? Well, it does it because of this model here, the collaboration code of communication. I've done quite a bit of research on this also, and this is all part of my dissertation also, and it all kind of just funnels right together. And what's interesting, it all is common sense and it makes sense. The problem is in most organizations, our ability to change goes low as we make more profit, but also as we become more bureaucratic and with more hierarchy levels, and we have, let's say, administration here, we have the entire order-to-cash process divided between different groups. What happens is that many of the hierarchy management levels in between don't necessarily talk to each other. We talk to each other in general meetings, but once we get outside the door, we don't necessarily communicate. One of the things is, email. Everybody sends email today. Before we used to pick up the phone and talk to people. Now we don't. We just send emails when we want something done. And now because of, emails, many people try to, many times they don't even communicate when they should, or emails could be taken wrong. So what we basically have here is two triangles. We have, if you think about it, it's two different departments. Let's say I'm service. Let's say that, we're working with order with sales. Well, service wants to maintain their service revenue. They have their minimum base service pricing. They also have what it is. They have their technicians, the feet on the street, what their response time is, what their metrics are. And then you have sales on the other side, who is about selling the product, taking care of the customer. And what you have now is three different criteria that have to come into play in order for two departments to work together. So there has to be this perceived need to collaborate, if you notice it in the first box. There also has to be a limited risk or exposure to me collaborating with you, because you have to remember, our goals are set up on the mountain concept, where I have my goal, you have yours. The two aren't necessarily tied together. Many times in many organizations, logistics goals are not tied to sales productivity. Sales productivity is not tied to logistics, so everything is kept separate. So I have to have a limited risk and exposure that my goals aren't going to get jeopardized by collaborating with another department. And then there has to be potential value. So by having those three, each department is looking at this, and we're still looking at the mountain concept that we can never really come together. So as you have this economies of change model, and our commodities our business becoming commoditized, our profitability is going down, and the board is saying, what is the problem? We're saying, oh, it must be the CEO, so we change the CEO out. Instead, it goes back to this initial model. It's the inertia of the company. Departments within departments don't even talk together. People within people don't even talk together. So ideally, if we're going to become less of a commoditized business, and we're going to focus on turning the organization around and always being predictive and being profitable, and how do we stay profitable, we have to get departments, as we become larger and hierarchical, to talk together and work together. For instance, many of our organizations have many business units that sell different products, but we all go in separately into customers. You know, it's the exact same thing there. You have the two triangles there. You have one business unit that sells one product, another business unit that sells another product. How do you get them to go together, to work in a customer together, to go in as one when their sales incentives and their products and their incentive plans are all set up different? So what we have to do is we have to take baby steps on some of this strategic change that we're going to be doing throughout an organization. And what we're actually looking for is to try and get to where this middle triangle, where we begin to work together. And ideally, wouldn't it be great if all departments talked and worked together at all one time, and that sales all walked in the door to the customer together, and that sales were shared across all business units? What a great concept. But the problem is the way the organizations are structured today, any organization, we basically have this entire problem.